Hey, what's going on, team? Hey, what's going on, team? Happy Friday. I wanted to update you guys on all my current positions just because the market has been a little choppy. A lot of stocks did aggressively sell off, some aggressively pushed up, and I kind of wanted to update you guys on where I stand with them, if I plan to continue to hold them, or if I actually plan to buy a little bit more. And I actually just got an alert on BABA. It's showing and indicating signs of an uptrend. If you guys haven't checked this one out, it aggressively sold off. This is, again, Alibaba, multi-billion-dollar corporation that's based out of China, pretty much the Amazon of China. And the thing that I find super exciting about this is that it aggressively sold off due to regulation purposes and regulation news that people were unsure of what was bound to happen. I didn't find that to be extremely detrimental to the entire company itself. It did obviously act as a negative catalyst, of course, as earnings followed as well, dropped it even a little bit further. And as the market began to sell off, of course, that didn't help Alibaba's case at all. Because it aggressively sold off so much, again, it could still continue to sell off. But one of the things that I find very attractive about it right now, and if you agree, maybe you can add it to your watch list. And if you don't agree, then that's the beautiful thing about the stock market, is that you don't have to add anything to your watch list if you don't see value in it. But because it sold off so much, one of the qualities that I like, or characteristics that I like so much about Alibaba, or BABA, is how consistent it was uptrending, especially even during this pandemic period. It was making higher highs, higher lows. It was very consistent, and it was an overall uptrend. This acted as a negative catalyst that drove the price down, presented a good deal opportunity for long-term investors, and this is why I'm talking about it. If you see value in it, then great. If you don't see value in it, then again, just move on. But from where it's at right now, it's now trading above the EMA line, so now it's actually indicating signs of an uptrend instead of just selling off. Of course, we still need to see if it follows and makes higher highs and higher lows. I expect it to pull back a little bit, but as long as we don't go as low as we did before, then that's a step in the right direction. Based off of where we stand right now from where the EMA line is at to previous highs, it's not a crazy return, but it's about 20%. And I think for a multi-billion-dollar corporation that previously offered a very consistent uptrend pattern, and of course isn't going anywhere, with a 20% ROI based off of 180-day highs, I personally found that to be attractive myself. So that was one of the first ones that I wanted to talk about. Another one is PTON. Very similar characteristics on this one, but I talked about this one with our Learn Plan Profit group, and this one's a little bit different. PTON aggressively pushed up. Again, very consistent uptrend pattern. PTON, one of the things that you need to know about this is a company that was thriving during pandemic conditions. This is an at-home workout, kind of like machinery, so it makes sense on why the demand was higher as we were in quarantine. Now, a lot of people are talking about going into quarantine for a second time, and a lot of states are already putting up these requirements. So if that were to be the case, then of course we would then see a potential increase in demand for Peloton. Of course, if we get out of quarantine and we again slowly begin to transition into, and we slowly begin to transition back, and we slowly transition back into the traditional way of doing things, and we actually just broke above a previous resistance level. The really exciting thing about that is that, and if we slowly begin to transition back into the way, and if we slowly begin to transition back into the traditional way of doing things, then it would make sense, especially if this vaccine begins to be distributed. It makes sense on why PTON and other stocks that did extremely well during pandemic conditions, the demand might be viewed as, it might not just be there as it was before during pandemic conditions. I hope that makes sense. We actually just broke above 106.50, and if you guys look at this on the 5-day, 5-minute chart, this is something that we're talking about as it was almost an ascending uptrend pattern, kind of this like bull flag pattern, and we just got this nice little break above 106.50, and it looks like it's still indicating signs of an uptrend. One of the things that I decided to do is I reduced my position size from 350 shares to now only 250, but if it continues to indicate signs of an uptrend, then I'll slowly add more to my position size. Now, although I'm in this specific stock myself, one of the things that I do want to make you aware of is that this thing was making lower highs and lower lows. So it pushing up today doesn't mean that it can't pull back, not tomorrow, but on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. Do you get what I mean? So it's going to be very important for us to follow up with PTON and to see if it begins to make higher highs and higher lows. changing its overall direction that it has previously had of making lower highs and lower lows. I just want to make sure that I remind you, not just because I'm in a specific stock, but also it might not be the best time to buy, especially if it's so overbought that it's bound to pull back based off of its overall previous descending direction for the past month. So just a little fair warning on that one. One of the other ones that, of course, I'm paying a lot of attention to, that a lot of people are paying attention to, is Tesla. Tesla aggressively pushed up. We are very close to the $540 that, if I'm not mistaken, it was JP. And one of the really exciting things about Tesla is that we surpassed that $500 threshold that everyone was talking about, and now it became so overbought, not just looking at the MACD, not just looking at the RSI, but just looking at overall previous trading prices. The hype just doesn't seem to be there anymore. It's not selling off, so that's one of the things that we were talking about today during our Learn, Plan, Profit live trading session. We're not making lower lows. It's not aggressively pulling back, but don't be surprised if it does. I would rather encourage you guys to be prepared versus being surprised. And if you begin to see that this thing breaks below the EMA line, if it begins to make lower lows and lower highs, it's so overbought that it does have a lot of pullback potential. And again, reminder, like something pulling back is not the end of the world. Pullbacks are healthy, right? Because it can continue that overall uptrend. But because it pushed up so much, it just would not be a surprise if we do begin to pull back. So what I plan to do is, moving forward, I normally would hold 50 shares overnight. So I'm day trading with about 100 to 150 shares. But when it comes down to holding it overnight, because it's been so bullish and I don't want to miss out on any gap ups, I've been leaving 50 shares open. I'm probably going to reduce that because it continues to not make higher highs for the past 2 days. I'm probably going to reduce that to about 30 to 40 shares just in case it does pull back. I don't have a very unfortunate or devastated loss, right? And that's one of the most important things that I want to cover throughout this entire video. Is it is so important that you take action based off of your understanding of the current condition. And it is so overbought that it's bound to pull back. It would make sense that it could pull back. So because of that, I'm going to set myself up that just in case it does uptrend, I have 30, 40 shares, but just in case it does pull back, my position size is so small that it's not going to devastate me. And I think that's one of the things that I want to encourage you guys, is to make sure that you have a proper position size, that you feel like you have enough money in the game to feel motivated, but not so much that you become emotional. And that's that balance that you need to take into consideration, especially when holding a specific stock overnight. And that's kind of what I have going on for Tesla as of right now. But overall, I'm super excited. I have other smaller positions, unlike Apple. Apple's been consolidating for about a couple of weeks, and not really much going on there. It's not aggressively selling off. It's not aggressively pushing up. I don't plan to add more to my position size. I only have 50 shares. Why would I want to add more to my position size when something is not moving, right? And then the other one is AMD, and it's a very similar setup on that one, where again, we just continue to consolidate. My position size is also super small in this one, that again, I'm probably just going to close out my position as it's not really doing much. So the main ones that I'm focusing on as of right now is BABA, Tesla, of course, and then Peloton are the ones that I've paid the most attention to, as they've seen the most activity in my watch list this week. Let me know in the comment section which stock you think I missed out. I know a lot of you guys were talking about NIO and the crazy reversal and the recovery that it's made, right? It's very impressive. It still remains very bullish. And if I'm not mistaken, it surpassed $50 a share. So that's amazing to see. Comment down below what stock you have in your watch list, what stock you're currently invested in, and what stock you plan to invest in if it begins to meet your criteria. And of course, don't forget to say why. So I really hope that I earned your thumbs up throughout this video. I hope that you guys learned something new. Please, I can't stress this enough. It is so important to watch your position size. You have nothing but time to make money in this market. Please take into consideration that if you go in super aggressive in a position and you hold it overnight and it's already overbought, I just don't want you guys to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Of course, you can make a great deal of money, but of course, it could pull back and you can lose a decent amount as well. So it is best to stay prepared versus being surprised. Don't forget to stay connected to our free Facebook group. That's going to be that first link down below. And if you guys want the weekend to be able to cover the course, it's completely beginner friendly. It's an A to Z video lesson library. You get lifetime access to it, and also you'll be able to watch me trade live every single day. You heard me talk about them in this video. It's the Learn, Plan, Profit group. And whenever you feel like you are ready, if you like my videos on YouTube, you will like the course. You get to watch me trade live every single day. So if you want to cover this over the weekend and then watch me trade live as soon as Monday, click the second link down below, learn a little bit more about the Learn, Plan, Profit group, and see if it's a good fit for you. Until then, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy, team.